Hey everybody, Casey here with Life Abstract Gaming, and today I want to talk about why arguably the most powerful and beloved superhero in the genre, Superman, is better as a villain.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman! Yes, it's Superman!
Now I want to start off by reminding everybody that this is just my opinion. I'll also add that, admittedly, I'm not a huge comic book fan, so while I have a lot of cursory knowledge about superheroes from various cartoons, TV shows, and movies, it's rare that I've read the comic source material directly. That being said, that doesn't disqualify me from having an opinion, and of course, you're welcome to your own. Throw them all in the comments. I didn't always have mixed feelings about Superman growing up. I remember the old Christopher Reeves movies very fondly and watched the TNT show The New Adventures of Lois and Clark weekly with my parents and brothers. That's how much my family loved Superman. It wasn't until Superman the Animated Series that I realized there was actually something about the character that I didn't like. Superman is just too powerful. I distinctly remember an episode where Superman was point-blank range with a devastating bomb. This explosion ripped through a mountainside, but Superman took pretty much no damage. Today we all know that's child's play to the Man of Steel, but as a kid I thought, well damn, how powerful is this dude? Turns out Superman is ridiculously powerful. Even if we ignore when he flew around the planet backwards to rewind time in Superman 1, there are instances of Superman bench pressing the weight of the entire Earth, pulling several planets into a new solar system attached by a chain, and accidentally destroying a solar system with a sneeze. I know that Superman's abilities vary based on the iteration, the time period, and the writers, but what's consistent with Superman is that he's far stronger than everyone and everything else. Basically, he's a god among men. Then comes the storyline from the NetherRealm developed Injustice Gods Among Us, where Superman is finally pushed too far by the Joker when he tricks him into accidentally killing Lois and his unborn baby. As if that wasn't enough, the Joker also rigged a nuclear bomb to detonate in Metropolis once Lois's heartbeat stopped. This prompted Superman to viciously murder the Joker and vow to end all war and crime immediately and by any means necessary. That stance puts him at odds with Batman, his longtime friend, and essentially, DC Civil War breaks out. One of the things that makes the story compelling is the level of conflict. When Superman is an all-powerful hero who almost always does the right thing, any conflict in his world is usually stamped out immediately. It's too easy, so there's not enough drama. When the character who is all-powerful is the conflict, then suddenly you get loads of drama. You get a vengeful and spiteful, godlike entity that's struggling to shape the world in his image despite the world's resistance. And you get his closest friend Batman as the biggest representation of that resistance. The friendship between Batman and Superman is usually framed in the old notion that opposites attract. Whereas Superman is seen as a Boy Scout with limitless superhuman power, Batman is a rule breaker who is powerless but tests the limits of human skill and ingenuity. One was raised humbly on a farm and the other is a billionaire in a major city, yet both stand on the side of good, adhering to a code not to use their abilities to kill. Once Superman crosses that line, Batman stands firmly against him, and one of the hero genre's greatest friends, just like that, become the genre's most compelling enemies. The character Mr. Glass in the M. Night Shyamalan film Unbreakable has a line where he says, "In a comic, you know how you can tell who the arch villain is going to be? He's the exact opposite of the hero." Following this logic, it's clear that Batman and Superman, far more than their actual arch enemies, the Joker and Lex Luthor, were better as rivals. The only missing viewpoint was the stance on killing. And no, I don't think if it had been Batman who crossed the line, we'd get as good of a story, because Superman is the one who's all-powerful. He's the god that needs to fall from grace, to generate that drama. It would be too easy for Batman to be defeated with Superman and the world working against him. There's another great line in the Batman vs. Superman movie from Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. "If God is all-powerful, he cannot be all-good. And if he is all-good, then he cannot be all-powerful." He uses this line in reference to Superman, stating that because of Superman's morality, there should exist a path to stop him. And in all honesty, I agree with this statement, except Lex Luthor is supposed to be wrong as far as the movie is concerned. And I'm not talking about his well-known weakness to kryptonite. What I think this statement really refers to is Superman's corruptibility. Superman, for all intents and purposes, is all-powerful, yet he is always all-good. In the Injustice storyline, we finally get the correct version of Superman, a character that is all-powerful, but more morally gray than all-good or even all-evil, because despite his new approach to saving the world, he is still attempting to save the world. Superman as a bad guy works because we're all intimately familiar with his backstory. We know how good he is supposed to be and how much he cares about Lois Lane. We sympathize with him when we see the toll Joker's scheme takes on him. We also understand and believe he's justified in exacting deadly revenge. But like Batman, we see the slippery road that leads to, and we know he's just too powerful to be left unchecked. When the all-powerful character Superman is the hurdle that the hero with limits Batman needs to face, then you get the most interesting version of Superman, and in my opinion, the most compelling Superman story I've ever seen. So, how do you feel about Superman as a bad guy? Do you think there are other good guy Superman stories that are better than the Injustice version? Let us know. We're listening.